Being aware of how we are being misled gives us freedom from yielding to those outside influences that can have negative consequences for us and others. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm Visible Lady of Faith, and this is
Her Visible Lady of Faith husband.
And we're going to talk about the Sunday school lesson entitled
Delightful
Precepts for Sunday, July the 21st, 2024. This lesson is taken from Psalms 119, verses 73 through 80. Today we're going to talk about how we can connect this lesson to our everyday lives. So we want to make the lessons that we discuss relevant for our lives today.
In these lessons, it was about poets and their emotions and how they felt. And as I've grown older, that I have come to the conclusion that I didn't know there were so many restrictions on the way I thought. Teachers were predominantly European. And, my classes in college and the people that I worked around, I finally realized, am I doing the thinking for myself? Because when I get in front of God, I have to answer for myself. So therefore, I have to be the best version of myself, a child of God. So I cannot have excuses saying this white person told me this, or Hispanic, or whatever. It's not even race, it's not even economics or nothing. It's about who I am and what, my relationship with God. Yes.
And what we think, what we say, what we do, how we treat others is impacted, or should be impacted, by our belief in God.
When you're dealing with those kind of things, you had a certain image you had to carry. But the thing is, we're hoping our words resonate and we can connect to what we're going through in our lives and what we're seeing. That's what we're trying to attempt to do.
Sometimes make judgment about other people based on what they look like, but I think
what kind of car they drive, what house they live in, all those things.
Yeah, their material possessions, or what kind of position they have. But I think those things are not as important as
respect, honesty,
respecting other
integrity.
people. Right, exactly. But the important thing is to make sure we're doing the right thing by treating them with respect and have integrity and all those things.
Words don't mean nothing. Your actions is what's important.
Right.
Because I can tell you, oh, I love you and everything, and don't bother to go and see how you're doing, because I deal with that all the time, because I would love to get to everybody, and I have to be careful what I promise people, because I'm stretched thin.
We should have compassion for others too. We should have patience and empathy, and sometimes people just want a listening ear.
Right.
So we can have the patience to take the time to listen to what someone wants to say or has to say, because, as I say, everybody has a story. So we can find out some things about people, and we can relate to their stories if we would just listen to what they have. Take the time to listen.
But also, too, I want to encourage you to read the Sunday school lesson, which is Psalms 119. Yes, and
verses 73 through 80. Yes.
Read that. After you become more mature, if you mature and take the time to read it, you'll get a lot out of it. And then after you read it, then sit down. That's why you go to church, to fellowship with somebody and talk about it. What's going to make me feel good every day is reading scriptures and understanding what the word is and then putting it into action.
And having a discussion, too, with other people and seeing what other people's perspective is, because that's one of the ways that we learn, not just by reading. We can read the scriptures, we can read other books. We learn from teachers, and we learn from each other, and we learn from our experiences. So all these things together can help us to be improved versions of ourselves.
Because when you have people, you can sit down and you're not afraid of them. Oh, are you stupid? Because, give you an example. You remember the one person that asked what it was, what's the Holy Ghost? And people were mumbling, you don't know that? Everybody don't understand the scriptures like everybody. So be careful how you talk to people.
That's where the patience and empathy comes in.
Yes. So if you can, in other words, you can find an environment where they're not challenging or insulting your intelligence. That's the kind of place you want to be at. Understand it for herself.
Right, I have to understand it for myself.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. We have to understand things for ourselves.
Yes.
So we can
and stop letting people tell you how you
grow.
should think.
One thing I like about our church when we did have the church is when we had, I guess you can call it a sermon, but it was more like a discussion. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like just we stand up there lecturing, but we had interaction.
Lecturing or a hoop and holler.
We had interaction with the people, so I really like that because we really hear other people's perspective. You know, it's good.
And you can hear. I like the concept because you can hear what your audience is thinking. Did you really get the message over to them?
Yeah, and we can relate to what they're saying too. Say, I had that experience. Oh, I felt that way too. So it's good. Interaction is good. Yeah. How is God's unfailing love a comfort to us, especially in times of corruption, greed, and injustice? So how can we feel that God is with us during all these negative things that are going on in the world?
It takes time to do what I'm about to say, because one thing is we have to first establish our relationship with God, and we do that through the Word of God. And also, two, to help you out while you're establishing and reading, and if you're not reading your scriptures like I'm suggesting, some of the things we already do as a human being. Because, like for instance, my wife here, she has a track record that I can trust her. She has a track record.
You scared me from out. What is
she has a track
record.
No. She's encouraging. She tries to. But yes, she has her flaws, but I don't need to talk about that. But see what I'm saying.
Don't we all have flaws?
Yeah. See, that's how I don't want to go down that path. But anyway, I'm saying your relationship, like the relationship I have with my wife, I have that same relationship. But my wife talks and I wish
you have that same relationship with
my relationship with God. It's the same principles and methods. They work out. You got to get to know who the other person is.
Oh yeah.
Like like my friends. I've sat down. I broke bread with them. I traveled with them. I swung a golf club. I did all kinds of things, and you can see what a person's like. And you can start at one little simple: God is love.
Right.
And then you start there and you start figuring out how does it work? How's he going to feel about it? Does God get angry? Does he laugh? And I say, yes, check, yes. And people say, no, he doesn't. I've had this argument and I says, okay, it's in the Old Testament. It said God laughed. So what is that then? Then we should take that word laugh out. It said God laughed. Okay. Does he get angry? Yes. He got angry with the Israelites and Moses had to talk God down and say, oh, don't destroy him. And
So I'm always wondering about that, about people, quote unquote, personify God. I believe God is a spirit and God is love. So how would you say God laughed? Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to understand.
Okay, see, look at it this way.
What that looks like.
That's the hard thing to get you to paint that picture. Yes, God is a spirit. Do you believe God delivered the slaves in the United States, out of bondage? I say yes. Even when Dr. King came, helped us get the civil rights going, he helped again. Because if it was not for the law, putting the laws into place where I could get in through affirmative action, just the conversations I had with different people, they were always telling me, well, if it wasn't for affirmative action, I never would have hired you. We took the same test as our white counterparts, and we scored higher in some and lower than others. So you can't say, all this here with the people saying that, can I really trust them because they lowered their standards? They did not. If that's the case, then are you saying in every Cal State, USC, MIT, University of Michigan, and I'm talking about all the degrees that my family have. So are you saying they lowered the tests so my black kids could pass?
They had two tests, one for white people and one for others.
They did not. See, it's just propaganda and what they call it, misinformation. Yeah.
Misinformation.
Yeah, so it's just that people are promoting this hate and all that. They shouldn't be. And this is where God, when he said God is love, this is where God separates himself from chaos and everything, because it's an unconditional love. If you play with fire, you're going to get burned. There's consequences, right?
Right. There is
And
consequences.
if you understand what I just said,
yes,
I can't.
there are consequences for
I can't stop. If a person
we say what we do.
yeah, if a person keeps
Even
robbing,
what we think.
if a person keeps robbing a bank and keep doing it and doing it, eventually something bad is going to happen, because they're taking something that's not theirs.
But I just learned this week that even our thoughts can affect our health.
Yes.
I didn't know that. So we have to be careful what we think, because that can affect our health also. We have a lot of suffering and struggles and adversity. And I think those kinds of experiences help us to provide us opportunities for spiritual growth.
Yeah, let me reiterate.
For understanding,
go ahead.
Patience and perseverance and our resilience, and we know strength we didn't even have, or we didn't think about having to come out on the other side of all these things that are happening to us. And we talked about arrogance.
Yeah.
You want to
no.
Okay, I thought we had talked about it, thinking that we are better than someone else based on our appearance, our material possession, our position, all that.
Yeah, see, that's what's dividing the country so bad, because people think, well, I know more about it and what have you. But I'm going to say this, and maybe you might understand it. I believe when I stand in front of God, I have to give an account of myself, and myself only.
Right.
Now, I have to be responsible for what I did to my wife and my children, and anybody that come in close proximity of me. I'm responsible for that.
Anybody come in close proximity, or
the contact with them.
Anybody you interacted with.
Yes, because I was in Costco the other day, and this guy thought I was talking to him, but I wasn't. So we started a conversation. He said, "Oh, I came over to talk because I thought you were talking to me." I said, "No," and I had just a few things in my hand. He says, "You can go in front of it," and I said, "No, who is that?" And he said, "Well, she doesn't mind." I said, "You don't mind, but she might. But you don't believe me?" And she said, "Yeah."
Ask her.
Yeah, he went and finally asked her. She says, "Yes, you can go ahead." And he turned around. She said, "Oh, you believe her and not me?" I said, "No, I've been married for 48 years and I know better. So I'm going to ask her and you." Suffering is not as painful.
Well, conversation, you say eliminates that. Sometimes it depends if you having talking about something that you both agree about. But if you're having a disagreement,
no,
that can be
a
little stressful sometimes.
But you get people in the same room and start talking, you're going to resolve a lot of things. A lot of your stress is going to go, and the suffering is going to go down. But right now, nobody's talking to each other. They're just throwing propaganda out, of misinformation, trying to make this person look bad.
Yes.
You got to get rid of the lies, the chaos, and start really talking and listening.
Thanks for watching, and we will hope you got a few thoughts out of this discussion, and we will see you next time.